I'm so glad you're here listening to the Sustain Your Passion podcast. I'm Genesis, your host and business development expert. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and income while helping others, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to help you sustain your passion. Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Sustain Your Passion. Today I want to talk with you about the holiday season and what it might be like if this is your first holiday season as a business owner. And I want to just give you my best advice for navigating shitty comments people might make. Because here's the thing, most people aren't entrepreneurs. Most people don't run businesses. Most people have jobs. They don't understand the depth in which you care for your work if you are an entrepreneur. And sometimes that means that at holidays with family or friends or loose ties or whoever, sometimes people accidentally say shitty things. And I want you to be prepared. So unlike me, you don't go cry in the bathroom, hyperventilate a little bit, and then want to go home immediately, like I did a few years ago. So let's dive in to some of the things that might happen that you could prepare for this holiday season, and know that at the root of all of this is boundary setting. It's clarity on who you want in your life, and it's respect for yourself and tolerance of mistreatment. And this is really hard stuff, okay? And so I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of someone who has literally been trying to set boundaries with people her entire life because my parental style. So I'll just leave it at that. But then also professionally and academically for like 15 years, I've studied this because it is so hard, especially as someone with ADHD and neurodivergence and RSD, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. People saying mean shit stings, and I don't want it to debilitate you or slow you down on your entrepreneurial journey. So the first thing I thought of that somebody might say that I've been asked before is, so how's that little business you started going? So that sounds so rude. Like, why do you have to call it a little business? Like, yeah, technically, by the definition of what a small business is or a micro business, like, technically I have a micro business because it's just me on the payroll. And I'm not making, millions of dollars every year. But why do you have to degrade it and call it a little business, right? Like, it's a whole ass fucking business. And so it just irks me when people add in little language like that. Literally little language to try and downplay the awesomeness and the gravity of what you do. Being an entrepreneur is so hard. Running a business takes so much time and energy and love and compassion for the work you do and the people you serve that being asked how's that little business you started going can feel really shitty. But I really want you to hear me that they probably genuinely have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. It's not that they're trying to say, of all the businesses I know how they work, yours is obviously little and small and does not matter. No, they're literally just trying to make themselves feel like starting a business isn't that big of a deal. For whatever fucking reason. But ultimately, if that impacts you as feeling like your work has less value or worth, that's a problem, and that's where we want to nip that in the bud, right? So first off, if somebody says that to you, I want you to just take a break. Like, if you're answering them, you could just be super vague, like, oh my gosh, it's so great, I love it. Oh, it's going really good. How's your job? Right? You could totally just like give them a quick answer, flip it back around on them, right? Like, oh, how's your job? How's your little job? If you want to be sassy. But ultimately, if someone's talking to you like that, I really just want to encourage you, go step outside, go take a break, go to the bathroom, and go review your client's comments to you. Go read a client testimonial or a review. And then realize how important what you do is. Remind yourself of the impact you make on other people's lives and the help you offer them. And remember that it is no little feat to start a whole ass business. And I am extremely proud of you for starting your little business and seeing it through, because if it is something you want to do, you deserve to do it. And somebody being a dick to you at Thanksgiving or the holidays you celebrate or whatever, right? Like, should not ideally impact, right, the way that you proceed forward, but people's words matter. And especially if it's from someone we respect or someone we have to like see again, right? It's not some random troll on the internet that we can block, but it's like so-and-so that you're related to, like it can sting. So if somebody asks you something like that, I want you to know that you can just kind of deflect. You can let them know it's going great, but you also can take a break and go and remind yourself of just how big the impact of your business is. Now, the next thing is somebody might ask you something like, are you still running your own business? And to me, I really don't like this type of question, because to me it implies that you were assuming I wouldn't be. What the fuck? Like, are you still running your own business? Why are you checking that? Like, why wouldn't the assumption be, how are things going in your business? Right? Not your little business, but like, how is your work these days? There's so many ways to ask that. But are you still running your own business is like, because I figured you wouldn't be by now, right? That's what they're not saying, but that's where that question comes from. At least I can't really place another reason. Like, are you still running your business? I guess, yeah, they just assumed you wouldn't be. So I don't know. I think that's strange. And so for me, I want to be prepared for if somebody asks me questions that triggers in me doubt that like they didn't think I could. That's really uncomfortable for me. And I don't like that. I don't feel good about that. And so having a response ready is really important for me. So what I would say back to someone who says, are you still running your own business? Is I sure am. I love my work and my clients. It's my favorite job I've ever had. And I feel lucky to do it. I hope everyone's as happy as I am with their job. Are you still working at your same job? And maybe that's it, right? Maybe they change jobs a lot. I don't know, but they're putting their shit on you. And I don't like that. So I think it's just important, again, to remember that people don't know what it's like to run a business. They don't know that even though they're not seeing like brand new flashy cars or $1 million, like, I don't know, scattered around your house when they come over, that your business can still be running and successful, that you're not like crying and mortgaging, like putting a second mortgage on your house and like going bankrupt because like you mismanaged it or something. Like, it makes sense that you still have a business. It makes sense that you are running a business. It makes sense that you are where you are, and someone discounting it with even unintentional shitty things is probably coming from their insecurity, jealousy, or misinformation, or just like general lack of understanding than anything about you. It probably has nothing to do with you, and they are just being so unaware of the impact, right? And so all of this is to say, like, people don't try to hurt entrepreneurs' feelings, but it happens a lot just because it's not that common. Like, we are not that common in society. Wanting to start a business is one thing. Actually doing it is a whole other thing. Sustaining it long enough for someone to ask you if you're still running your own business, whole other level. Like, there's just not that many people doing these big, scary things, but you are. And if somebody asks you something that discounts your hard work, I want you to just remember my voice right here that says, I'm still proud of you. And you have a big business. Okay, the next thing I want to think about with you, if somebody makes this rude comment to you over pumpkin pie, I want you to be prepared. I think it's so funny how people want to offer unsolicited advice to new entrepreneurs. What? Like, literally, what the fuck? It's so dumb. But, like, people think that they could give you advice just because, like, they've been to a business like yours before, or they, like, loosely understand what it means to work in a business, but they don't actually know what it's like to, like, run it. Especially not, like, an online business in your specific niche. So any unsolicited advice is crap. Like, it's not necessary to even entertain it. Like, let it go in one ear and out the other. So for me, if someone offers me unsolicited advice the first time, I'm typically very generous with that, right? I'm like, oh, thanks so much for caring. You know, I feel pretty confident in my approach, but it's good to know you're available if I choose to ask for help. And that's a good reminder that like, hey, I didn't choose to ask you for help. I'm not asking you for help and I'm good. So what the fuck are you doing, right? But then let's say this very, very helpful person comes around and offers unsolicited advice a second time. They're telling you that you should expand your market. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to say who this was in case. Okay. Someone in my history when I first started my business asked me all sorts of rude questions about how niching down on helping women was not gonna help. I wasn't gonna be successful. It was so interesting. And I was just like, sir, shut the fuck up. You do not know what you're talking about. In my head, right? In my head, that's what I was thinking. But outwards, I was like, oh yeah, thanks for letting me know your concerns. Yeah, I've thought through that. I'm good, though, because it was just so misinformed. And it honestly just made me look at that person and be like, you are the arrogant fuck everyone jokes about. But okay, I digress. The second time someone might make unsolicited advice or comments or critiques of your approach, this is where I'm going to get a little more sassy with that person, and I'm going to be a little bit more clear that, like, I don't think you know what the fuck you're talking about, but I'm going to do it in a way that I think is a little bit more classy than being like, shut the fuck up. Okay, the second time, I'm going to be like, oh, have you ever run a business like mine? Like, I'm going to play dumb, right? I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, wait, am I sitting here next to someone who's like 10 years more advanced in this than me, who's like been where I've been and like they're where I want to get to? So like, oh shit, am I so misinformed that like you actually are really successful in the same line of work as me and I'm like not aware that I'm talking to a genius in this? Like, have you ever run a business like mine? I know the answer. The answer is no, they haven't. Because if anybody has ever actually run a business like yours, they are not giving you unsolicited advice. No, the answer is going to be no. But it's a good way to shut down the conversation. Flip it into a question, right? Basically, make them think about why they're giving you advice and why they think they're qualified to give you advice. Because they're not. But by asking it in a question, you don't sound like such a bitch. Okay, third time, even though you're not for setting boundaries, I need to clarify that. Okay, but people might perceive you that way. Okay, third time, if this person is again giving you unsolicited advice, I want you to say, hey, I'm not looking for advice. And just sit there in silence, cringy silence. And let them think about what they've just done. And help them realize that, oh shit, I'm giving advice to someone who didn't ask for it, who's not looking for it. And if they still don't get that, get up and walk away. Literally. Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh my God, I'm about to shit my pants. I gotta go. Like, gotta get up. Oh, oops, my phone's vibrating. Let me go check this. I had a call scheduled in 5 minutes. Maybe they're calling early. Like, come up with an excuse. Get away from that person. If they are pushing your boundaries multiple times, if they are not hearing you, they just want to stroke their ego and they're using you and your mindset to get off on their own shit because they're putting you down. And I hate that for you. So walk away from them, please. Okay. Now, in general, it is so helpful to have scripts ready, but also setting boundaries in the moment. You don't actually always know what someone's going to say, right? And so instead, I want to also offer you these foundational truths for you to carry with you into every environment, every day, ideally, but especially when you're talking to people who are giving you rude comments or silly advice or whatever. You are so worthy of being respected. Your work matters and is making a difference. And you are successful because you are pursuing what you want out of this life. Because you know that your happiness matters. And life is short. And at the end of the day, no one's going to fix your shit but you. And you deserve to be happy. And you're going after it. And nobody is you. So at the end of the day, when you lay your head down to go to sleep, you need to be proud of yourself. And if somebody's making crummy comments to you, you can't fix that, but you can respond in a way that protects yourself, gently at first and more firmly as needed, but you're allowed to protect yourself. And honestly, as a business owner, your mind and your mindset is one of the number one business assets you have. Actually, it is probably the number one business asset you have. Your brain is the number one business asset you have. It's your responsibility to protect it. And with that comes practicing things like setting boundaries, communicating no's, getting up and walking away if you have to. But it's really hard. It's really, really hard, especially if it's with family and people that you know you're going to see the next day or in the next week and you have power dynamics with because they're a parent or an uncle or an elder. It gets messy fast. And so if you heard this episode and you're sitting there like, yeah, Genesis, this all sounds so nice, but like you probably have such a supportive, loving family. Ha! Okay. Ha. First, that's not true. I have dealt with my own fair share of doubters and criticizers and belittlers, and it sucked. And I didn't let them win. And I'm really proud of that. And I want you to be really proud of yourself too. So I hope this episode was helpful. I know it's hard, right? I just want to say it's so hard. And if I oversimplified anything here, I want you to know that my DMs are open for you. I will happily give you a script. If you know that someone says something nasty every time you see them about you or your business or your choice to become an entrepreneur, let me know what they say and I will help you brainstorm what to say back. So at least you have that in your back pocket before you go see them at the holidays. Like literally find me on Instagram at Genesis_Rose. Send me a message that says, hey, I just listened to this episode of the podcast. I don't know what number it is right now as I'm recording, so sorry, I can't tell you that. But hey, just listen to this podcast. And I want to take you up on your offer to help me plan what to say next time I see my so-and-so. They typically talk to me about this, and it always makes me feel like that. Can you help me come up with what to say next time? I would love to help you strategize how to protect yourself in those moments and protect your mindset, because we need people like you leading big visions and big missions, because our world's pretty dark and has a lot of problems, and we need people with big hearts that are willing to do something about the problems they see in the world. And that's what an entrepreneur does. So I'm really proud of you for your decisions. Thank you for being here and listening to this episode, for nurturing yourself and growing and developing further in your identity as an entrepreneur and knowing that you are deserving of respect and protection. And I hope it helps you a little bit. And I hope that ideally, right, nobody would even need this episode, me included. Like, hopefully, right, we get to a world where like people don't cut each other down because of their own insecurities. That'd be so cool. But until then, I am here to help as best I can. So I really hope this episode was helpful. Good luck. Know that I am rooting for you and I'm here for you if you need any extra support. Okay, everyone, happy holidays. Talk to you later. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. If this episode helped you gain a bit more clarity, courage, or confidence, please share it with your friends on social media or in a text. It would mean the world to me. Thanks in advance for sharing this episode. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.